what we saw last night was a Vikings team that didn't step in a trap, because that was a classic trap game. Monday night, when you're staring at a visit to Seattle, Packers, Week 17, showdown with the Lions, Week 18, that was a game where you possibly find yourself in a mess. Because for the Bears, it's the last time anybody's going to care about them for the rest of the year. That was their bowl game, right? That was there's a West Virginia bowl game tonight. Who cares? Well, that's your one last time to be on TV and people get to see you play. That's what it was for the Bears. And they kept coming. They did not quit. I didn't see quit. I didn't see a whole lot of confidence, but I didn't see quit. So that 30-12, it was closer than that, and it was in doubt for a while. Like so many games, you see the final score, and if you didn't watch it, you didn't realize the dam broke fairly late for the Vikings, and then they had to sweat it out a little bit after the block punt with about, 6-7 minutes to go.
And again, I will give credit to Chicago, especially the way they started the game. You get the ball first, you go down there, you don't get it on fourth down, you get stopped, then you get the ball back, and you still don't get anything. Caleb Williams gets sacked by Grenard, and you look up and you're just like, everything that could go wrong in the beginning of this game has gone wrong, but they still continue to fight. I mean, we're sitting here, and if it wasn't for, not reporting eligible, we're looking at a game where we're like, what was it, 13? It would have been 13-7, and it would have been a whole different outlook for this team. But again, I also give a ton of credit to Minnesota, because in the National Football League, there's not much that separates teams. And you just said it. These games are usually a lot closer than what the score is. And Minnesota took advantage of every opportunity. They took advantage of playing well on defense on third down and when the fourth down situations came up. They took advantage of getting a turnover, then going down and scoring a touchdown. They continue to make plays in the game that it didn't turn into when we get into the other game between Atlanta and the Raiders. It didn't turn into a Hail Mary at the end of the game. They made the plays. And truthfully, as we talk about the Bears, if Justin Jefferson catches that second pass, I probably would have turned into a touchdown for him for his second touchdown of the night. That would have even changed the outlook of the game early, because that would have put another touchdown on the board, and they would have went up by even more. So Minnesota, they're a good football team. And what I've loved about watching them is that defense right now, without Stephon Gilmore, they've had some injuries. They continue to make plays. They show up. And, you heard Kevin O'Connell in the locker room after the game. I saw the clip where he gives Blake Cashman a game ball. And I remember being down there talking to Brian Flores, and he said, we can't wait till we get Blake Cashman back in here, because he's the quarterback of this whole thing. Everyone sees all these crazy looks. We have guys at the line of scrimmage, guys dropping out, guys blitzing. He's like, Blake, when he's on the field, he gets us in the right things, gets us out of bad things. And you can tell his defense really loves having him out there because of the impact he has, not just with his play, but being able to line everybody else and orchestrate that whole Brian Flores defense. And that has showed up since he's been back out there.
That was a key early turning point in the game. There was a sack and a strip of Caleb Williams. They were moving. They were 3rd and 9 from the Minnesota 29. Cashman ended up recovering the fumble and taking it to the Chicago 39. And then the Vikings, a few plays later, get the touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson, and it was 10-0 instead of 7-3. So there were different moments. There were different points at the game where it could have gone either way. And here's the touchdown pass to Jefferson that made it 7-3. He says into the camera, little Randy Moss tribute. We'll talk about that in a second. But that made it 10-0 instead of 7-3. Would have had a different vibe altogether. And then when it was 10-0, 9:35 to go in the half, Vikings have 4th and 3 on the Chicago 23. And I texted my son, because we were texting the whole game long. As soon as I saw it was 4th and 3 on the 23, I texted Dan Campbell would go for this. and then we both were like, oh no, Kevin O'Connell's going to do it too. But even though it didn't work, it made sense. And that's the kind of thing you got to be willing to do from time to time. And they did say, because usually the ESPN analytics always say go. They never say don't. And Joe Buck mentioned that ESPN analytics said, kick the field goal there. I think of games in terms of how many scores are you ahead. Is it a 2-score game or a 1-score game? Is it a 2-score game or a 3-score game? A touchdown on that drive, and they were just moving right down the field. I figured, yeah, they can convert 4th and 3. They're just moving right down the field. Give it a shot and go up 17-0 instead of 13-0. Because if it was 13-0, it's still a 2-score game. But that was the kind of gutsy move that I didn't really expect from Kevin O'Connell. I do expect it all the time from Dan Campbell. And maybe the next time around, O'Connell won't do it. You want to be unpredictable in your gutsiness. I think the Lions are too predictable in theirs. The fact that O'Connell surprised me last night makes me think, he might be finding the sweet spot of unpredictability where you never quite know when he's going to roll the dice. He's not always going to roll the dice, but maybe once in a while he will. And I think that makes it better to convert because the defense never quite knows when it's staying out there and when it's coming off the field. And you find out when Kevin O'Connell makes his decision and implements it.
Exactly what you just ended with. The defense never knows. And I think about if I was still playing and we were playing against the Detroit Lions, after almost every third down and call it less than 6 or less, I would be sitting there saying, or we would even talk about during the week of, like, you would see coaches on the sideline, hands up, stay. Like, we need to evaluate the situation first. What are they doing? Is the punt team even coming on the field? So when you do have a coach that's kind of feeling the flow of the game, and you said it, like, it was tough to stop. They were being tough to stop on that drive, and I think Kevin O'Connell's sitting there saying, if we go up 20-3 right here, like, it's going to be hard for Chicago to say, let's keep playing hard. We can get back in this game because of the point in the season that they're at. So I think he kind of said, you know what? This is the moment right now where if we can end the game, yes, it won't be over, but essentially we can kind of stick a fork in them right now. Let's go do it. And if not, we'll still be okay. Like, our defense will make a stop or whatever, however you feel. But to me, as a coach, when you have a chance and you get that feeling early in a game where you can end and just finish that team right there, then you have to do that, because then you give your guys the confidence and you encourage them like, hey, I feel it, because guys feel it on the football field. Like, they know, all right, we got these guys reeling. We can go ahead and we can end this right now. And when Kevin O'Connell did that, I think that let his team know, hey, he believes in us. We can go do this right now. And I know he believes in them overall, but within a game, that kind of confidence from your head coach saying, let's go get it. And then I think on the other side, it can be seen multiple ways, but I think as a defense sometimes early in the game, it's that feeling of, hey, coach got us. He's going for this to try to end the game. If we don't get it, we got to back us up. We got to come and get a stop. Like, we have some decent field position. We can't let them flip the field. Like, that kind of feeling is a little different late in the game when you go for it. I think the defense sometimes feel like, man, they just don't want us to go back out there on the field. But early enough in the game, it kind of sends a message to your whole team that as a head coach, I think we can finish this team right now.
And there was some bend but don't break from the Vikings defense in the first half. When the Bears got the ball after that failed fourth down, and actually, it wasn't even a failed fourth down. It was an interception that Tyreek Stevenson should have dropped. I mean, the guy was doing the skull clap mockingly after he made that interception. It's like, dude, you gave up 7 yards of field position.
We'll
so they
never
started
drop an
at the
interception,
16.
Florio. We'll never do it as DBs.
Yeah. Too few and far between, right? The moments are too few and far between for most DBs. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.